You can feel it in your body before you can explain it. That tiny pause before you answer. That little drop in your stomach when someone asks you to do something and every part of you quietly says no, but your mouth says yes. And the weirdest part is everybody acts like this is normal. Like being available for everything is a personality trait. Like exhaustion is just the price of being a good friend, a good worker, a good person. So you smile, you agree, you tell them it's fine, but it is not fine. It is just familiar. Every time you say yes to something you secretly hate, you are not just being polite. You are making a trade, a quiet one, no receipt, no dramatic consequence, just a small piece of your attention, your energy, your time, your actual life, handed over for the temporary relief of not disappointing someone. And that relief is addictive because saying yes ends the tension immediately. The room stays peaceful. The message thread stays friendly. Nobody has to feel awkward. Nobody has to think you are selfish or difficult or cold. You get to remain the easy person, the reliable one, the chill one, the one who never makes things complicated. But later, when you're alone, something else shows up. Resentment. That's loud at first, more like a background noise. You are doing the thing you agreed to do, but mentally, you are somewhere else. You are irritated by people who didn't technically force you. You feel trapped by plans you accepted. You feel used, even though you volunteered. And that's the strange violence of a dishonest yes. It makes everyone else look innocent, while you slowly become angry at them for a betrayal you committed against yourself. Modern life has turned availability into moral currency. We praise people who are we, always reachable, always grinding, always down for one more thing, one more meeting, one more favor, one more quick call, one more plan you don't want to attend, one more opportunity that sounds impressive but feels like sandpaper against your soul. And productivity culture makes it worse because it tells you that every yes might be the one that changed your life. Say yes to project. Say yes to the connection. Say yes to the event. Say yes to the extra work. Say yes because successful people say yes. But nobody tells you how many people have built entire lives out of commitments they never wanted. Nobody tells you that not every open door is meant for you. Some doors are just exits from yourself. And the scary thing is, saying yes too much doesn't always look like self-destruction. Sometimes it looks responsible. Sometimes it looks ambitious. Sometimes it looks like you finally have your life together. Your calendar is full. Your phone keeps buzzing. People need you. People invite you. People depend on you. From the outside, it looks like connection. From the inside, it can feel like a disappearance because there is a version of you underneath all that compliance that keeps getting, the version that wanted time to think, the version that wanted to create something, a version that wanted to rest without guilt, a version that had real desires before they got buried under everyone else's expectations. And every fake yes teaches that version of you to stay quiet. At first, you ignore your own signals. When you stop trusting them, then one day, you genuinely don't know what you want anymore. That's when it's dangerous. because people imagine self-betrayal as some huge cinematic moment, like leaving your dream behind forever or choosing the wrong life in a one dramatic decision. But usually, it's smaller than that. It's answering sure when you want to say I can't. It's laughing alone when you feel uncomfortable. It's accepting plans because canceling would make you look flaky. It's taking on more work because you don't want to seem replaceable. It's letting your fear of social friction design your entire life. And that fear is real. The body understands rejection before the mind has a speech prepared for it. When you think about saying no, your nervous system can treat it like danger. Your chest tightens, your thoughts race. You start imagining their reaction before they even have one. What if they think I'm rude? What if they stop asking? What if I miss out? What if this changed how they see me? So you yes, not because you want to, but because your body wants to, threat to end. And for a second, it works, but the stress doesn't disappear. It just moves. It follows you into the task, into the conversation, into the weekend you didn't want to spend that way, into the version of yourself that keeps whispering, why did you agree to this again? A lot of people think they have fear of missing out, but honestly, I think many of us have something more specific, a fear of friction. We're not always afraid of missing the party. Sometimes we don't even want to go. We're afraid of the tiny social earthquake that happens when we admit that. We are afraid of being a person with edge because edge create resistance, and resistance can make people uncomfortable. So we become smooth, agreeable, convenient, easy to handle. We remove every sharp truth from our personality until nobody can get cut by us. But then we wonder why we feel invisible. There's a cost to being endlessly easy. People start building their comfort on top of your silence, not because they are evil, not always, but because you trained them where your boundaries are, or more honestly, where they aren't. And this is where resentment becomes confusing, because part of you wants to blame everyone else. You want to say they keep asking too much. They don't respect my time. They never notice how tired I am. Maybe that's true, but sometimes the deeper truth is harder to swallow. They don't know where the line is because you keep moving it. You keep smiling while crossing it. You keep calling it fine. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's also freeing. Because if the problem was only everyone else, you would be powerless. You would have to wait for the world to become more considerate before you could feel alive again. But maybe the first act of getting your life back is smaller. Maybe it's one honest no. Not a dramatic speech, not a personality rebrand, not same sudden transformation where you become fearless and cold, just a no that feels shaky, a no that makes your hands sweat, a no that disappoints someone a little but saves you from disappointing yourself again. Because boundaries don't always feel empowering in the moment. Sometimes they feel like panic. Sometimes they feel like you are doing something wrong, especially if you were praised your whole life for being low maintenance. But peace isn't the same as approval. And being liked by everyone is not the same as being loyal to yourself. At some point, you have to ask what your yes is actually worth. Because a real yes should mean something. It should have weight. It should come from desire or love or responsibility you consciously choose, not fear, not guilt, not desperate need to keep the atmosphere pleasant. When you say yes to everything, your yes becomes cheap. People can't tell when you mean it, and eventually, neither can you. You start living like a background character in everyone else's life, making guest appearances in place you don't want to be, performing enthusiasm you don't feel, calling it kindness because the alternative feels too uncomfortable. But the truth is, you are allowed to be inconvenient. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to disappoint people without becoming a bad person. And maybe the people who truly belong in your life don't need you to abandon yourself to keep them. Maybe they can survive your honesty. Maybe you can too. But every honest no makes room for an honest yes. And one day, when you stop giving your life away in tiny polite pieces, you might finally hear that quiet voice underneath all the noise, not screaming, not begging, just saying that you are.